Hi everyone, in this video we're going to go over while loops. And a while loop is different than a for loop in that a for loop is more iterative, meaning that a for loop is used mostly when you know how many times a loop is going to run. If you want to loop through something 100 times or loop through the number of days in a week, so that's 7, so you know how many times you're going to do a looping sequence. But what if you don't know how many times a loop is going to be run? Say it depends on the user's input or some other calculation that you can make that can be different every time. Well, the way to do that is to use a while loop, or the way that is most commonly is to use a while loop. And to do a while loop, you simply type in the keyword while, and then you want to give it parentheses, followed by 2 brackets, which will be its containing body. So inside the brackets, all you need is a Boolean condition. So what do I mean that? A Boolean condition is anything that can be determined to be true or anything that can be determined to be false. Now, that seems pretty simple, but the power of a while loop is pretty big. So for instance, if I want to every time go down a while loop, if I want to go through a while loop and check that I is greater than 20, even though I haven't created I yet, I can do that. So I can make a variable called here called int I is equal to 0, and I can iterate through I. Now, for instance, if I run this loop right now, I'm going to get an infinite loop. That's pretty bad. As you can see, that it doesn't say the program has not terminated yet, and the reason is because I'm saying while I is less than 20. Well, I is equal to 0. So is I less than 20? Yes. So I get down in this brace, and it goes up here. I is less than 20. Goes down to this brace. Goes back. Is I less than 20? Yes. I is less than 20. So I is less than 20 every single time. I'm not doing anything to change the value of 20. So what I want to do is every time I want to increment I. And then why don't I see out oops, I forgot my quotes, because this is a string and I can only print out words if they're a string sequence. That's how you represent words in computing, is you do strings. You put them in parentheses. Happy day. And I'll put an endel just to make things look nicer. So now I'm going to run this program, and hopefully happy day gets printed out a few times. And there you go. Happy day is all over the place. So there you go. Happy day was printed out. And also, so if you noticed, even though I had my while loop, I have a condition that, for instance, I have a condition that I is less than 20. But right now, this while loop, it's kind of not that cool because I kind of am doing the same thing with a for loop, right? I have my condition and then I just increment it every time at the bottom. So it's kind of like a for loop. But what if, let's say I have I, and let's say I'm going to C in a value. I'm going to C in a value, and I'm going to C in B. And I haven't made B yet, but I'll make B. And I'm going to C in B. And then I'm going to check if B is equal to I, then I'm going to print something out. I'm going to print out C out this is the number you are looking for. And then I'm going to put a space, and then I'm going to print out that, and I'm going to print out B. It doesn't matter if I print out B or I, because I'm saying in the statement that they're equal. So, and I forgot the L in the endel, and now I'm going to format. And the way you can format in NetBeans is Shift-Alt-F. And I forgot to put the semicolon. Sorry, guys. And there we go. So I just press Shift-Alt-F. The shortcut is different on Mac, but you can easily Google it or look it up. And so now I'm going to C in a value B. I'm going to go through 20 times. I'm going to print out happy day. But if B is equal to I am going to give it a special output. So right now, my computer is looking like this, and let me give it 12. And it is giving me an infinite loop. And that is because I was a dum-dum and forgot to increment I at the end. So it's still an infinite loop. So we're going to see now what happens in this case. So I just ran it and input 12 right there, and then after happy day, hopefully printed out 12 times, and now came out to that. It said this is the number I'm looking for. So, and also I could make I equal to B, and then I wouldn't have to worry about that. So then B would increment a few times, and then B would only be equal to I. Well, when would B equal to I? It would never be equal to I, because B would always be less than it, I believe. So let me try this. So yes, so the if statement never gets printed out, just happy day gets printed out. So as you can see, that's pretty cool. So I did a while loop I have a while loop that can run a certain amount of times depending on what my input is, and then based on a condition, if B is equal to I do a special case and I print out something differently. And remember, obviously, it's very important that I don't forget that I remember to increment I, or else it'll be an infinite loop. And that is the biggest case with infinite loops, is to avoid things like that. Well, guys, I hope you guys like this while loop. I'm trying to make the videos a little bit shorter, so this is all on while loops right now, and I'll do another tutorial on do while loops next.